Hi, I'm Ann Coulter. Welcome to my Substack. I have my longtime liberal friend, Mickey Kaus, here with me, and we've come up with some great topics to disagree on. Welcome, Mickey.
Thanks, Ann. I was playing basketball and a basketball hit me on the head. So I may not be at my best. I may be slightly cognitively impaired. If I freeze, just snap your fingers or something.
I noticed that yesterday. I was taping a podcast with Vivek Ramaswamy, which I wanted to tell you about. It was so much fun. But I realized about halfway through, and I probably shouldn't admit this, when I haven't had a Nicorette for 30, 40 minutes, I kind of run out of steam. I can't think of arguments. I start repeating myself. So with your basketball injury for the first half and my lack of nicotine for the second half, we might be able to put together one solid, coherent podcast. So first about me, I've been on the road. This just occurred to me because the producer asked me, so what happened at Cornell? So I said, I'm going to ask Mickey to ask me about that. So ask me how Cornell was.
What happened at Cornell?
Oh, it was great. Thank you.
It didn't seem all that raucous, except for that one person who got ejected.
Yes, well, that's sort of the stunning thing. I think I'm going to write a column about this week. This is weirdly, I think, completely a reaction to October 7th. And although I'm glad, Wall Street liberals and I assume the Mitt Romneys of the world have finally woken up, I got to say I'm maybe a teensy bit bitter that they didn't care when much, much, much worse was being done by college leftists and outside agitators to conservative speakers on college campuses. No, we were just, oh, well, they're fascists, so who cares? It's like Mitt Romney saying, oh, no, the Antifa, they are anti-fascist. Well, okay, the protesters, the pro-Hamas ghouls on college campuses, they say they're just anti-genocide. How about that, Mitt?
Isn't there a danger of taking away their free speech rights too? I mean, they always harass people, so you can always bust them for that. And they build tents on public land. You can bust them for that. But suppose they showed up every morning and chanted "Free Palestine," even from the river to the sea,
Even
and then went
even the need
away.
to genocide Jews. I'm sorry, that speech. What the professor? You're absolutely right. As Nadine Strawson has been making this point for 40 years. What the college professors said in that hearing on the anti-Semitic outbursts, what they said about free speech and the First Amendment was 100% correct. The outrage was, contra Elise Stefanik, that the college professors believe it in no other instance. I
Right.
show up to give a speech on immigration, and no, you can totally shut her down. As Romney said, they're just anti-fascist. So I don't know. There's a little gloating, a little fury on my side. I bet these Jewish kids wish they had the Proud Boys around to defend them. They'd be plenty safe then. But oh yeah, the left crushed the Proud Boys, so there is no one to defend those people who are being set upon. And what is being done to Jews on college campuses? I mean, again, the pro-Hamas people are swine. They are ghouls. They're monsters. It's not half as bad as what was done repeatedly to David Horowitz, to Charles Murray, to Heather Mac Donald, to me, to Milo, to Gavin McInnes. And oh my gosh, all of precious liberal New York and I might add most of the conservative movement didn't give a damn then. So little ticked off at that.
I didn't realize that somebody had their bone broken, their collarbone broken in the Charles Murray thing.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
And Heather Mac Donald, I mean, there are videos of her. I think it was at Claremont, University of California. She's standing giving a speech, and she and Charles Murray are probably two of the top 5 or 10 intellectuals in the country, and they can't speak on a college campus. And Heather Mac Donald is in this empty auditorium because they couldn't open it up to students because of the protesters. So you hear the protesters on the other side of the wall, and people who wanted to hear Heather Mac Donald, I guess, were watching it on a jumbo tron or something in another room, and she's just standing in an empty room giving a speech. and wait, these Wall Street alums never minded that. So anyway, because of that, to quickly cut to Cornell, it was magnificent. In fact, maybe a few too many precautions were taken. I just wish we could go back to the way college speeches were pretty much before Trump came along. I think that was kind of the dividing line. Because I used to give loads and loads. I probably gave more college speeches than anyone, any conservative in America, certainly. And there were always protesters, but I'd still be able to give my speech. They'd protest, they'd stand up and question and answer, stamp their feet, tell me I'm ugly, get it out of their system. And at the smart colleges like Harvard, and it used to be at Cornell, and I think it was again at Cornell this time, the smart kids want to beat you in question and answer, which is why it was way more fun to go to the high SAT scores schools. This time, for one thing, only students and faculty were allowed to attend, which was, I think, unfortunate. It was always open to the public and free until now. They had 17 guards in the room. This time, the kids only got one warning, and it was sort of general for the whole group. And yeah, there was just this one illegal alien protester, but I got to tell you, everybody said to me afterwards, everything you were saying about immigrants, she was kind of illustrating the point that they're not sending their best.
Well, anyway, it's better that you can give the speech than that you can't. So,
yeah, no, I mean, like I say, I'm glad this has woken up Wall Street and wow, maybe even the ADL. Maybe they've been focusing on the wrong threat all along. Okay, let's get to our topics. Ukraine aid, you say we disagree, I'm for it. I am dying to hear this, Mickey.
Well, first, the background is, Speaker Johnson, and we'll get to him later, said he was going to hold up the Ukraine aid until he got a transformative reforms at the border. He hasn't done that. He hasn't been able to do that. So he passed the Ukraine aid without transformative reforms at the border.
Or any reforms.
Even with a little money to help usher in more immigrants. So it was a bad outcome for border people. But I'm actually surprised that you and J.D. Vance and Ryan Girdusky and all these people have gone whole hog against aiding Ukraine. I would rather Ukraine successfully defended its borders against Russia than not. If we can aid them, it seems to me that's a good thing. It's just money. We're not sending our troops, and then we should force them into negotiations. I think the neocon fantasy that they're going to win and Putin's going to be humiliated and Russia's going to collapse and the democracy is going to bloom on Putin's ashes, that's all completely insane. Putin's not going to lose. He has the upper hand militarily. Any negotiation will probably give him the Donbass. I don't give a shit if he gets the Donbass. I don't give a shit how big Ukraine is, as long as some sort of Ukrainian country is preserved around Kyiv. And it seems to me that's a good outcome, and that's an achievable outcome. And if we give aid to Ukraine, they might achieve that. And it's just aid. It's not such a big deal.
Okay, now describe what possible interest I should have in this.
You don't have that much interest. You don't have to do anything. The aid will go.
Yes, I do. I have to pay taxes.
Well, there's not
I have to pay taxes. I'm funding this. I elect people. I elect people to represent my interests and make my life better. And oh my gosh, this is not making my life better. It is not making anyone's life better here in the U.S. I have more to say about what you had to say, but the fact that this has absolutely no possible national security interest to, oh yes, my country, the United States of America, is my main reason for opposing it.
Well, there's obviously some national security interest. If you talk to Roman Gen, our favorite Russian cartoonist, he will say if Putin gets this, he'll start looking around for other things to swallow.
You've just reminded me of another reason I am against mass immigration. We bring in all these people with their special interests for their special countries, and we get all the special pleading like Alexander Vindman for Ukraine, and you have the anti-Russian Russians, and let's see, we were supposed to worry about the Somali vote, I guess, now in Minnesota. So we're just going to keep going to wars because we bring in immigrants from countries who care more about the old country than our country.
Vindman was obnoxious. The Ukraine lobby is obnoxious. They're totally entitled.
You can watch complete episodes of Unsafe with Ann Coulter by subscribing to anncoulter.substack.com. That's anncoulter.substack.com. You can also listen to complete episodes for free at Ricochet.com. Choose Unsafe from the pull-down menu at the top of the page. That's Ricochet.com, your home for civil center right conversation on the web.